If you have the Speedcast, you're watching us here on Speedcast TV, let someone know that the race is there. We're going to have this today. We're going to have races today and tomorrow. Coming up next is the Honda Challenge category. Then later today, we'll have the 944, the spec classes, 944 spec, the E30, and the spec 3 class, and then the final race, the spec Miata. There was a time when there were a lot of classes in NASA, but you were among those who helped carve all that down to get speed factors together and put them all in groups and get fewer classes and make for better racing.
Yeah, what we did, what we had found, Bill, is that we had something like 76 or better classes, and a lot of them were just 5 guys in one region that might have been racing in one class, and that became a little bit kind of diluted and unfocused. So we came up with some catch-all classes that were able to sweep all of the fellas that were in the smaller classes in and really focus down to about 30, 35 classes.
You're looking at Scott McKay, the 2-time defending champion in Factory 5 racing. He started back in the field. He started 10th in the Factory 5 Challenge class, and in less than 3 laps, he was able to move from 10th. I think he passed 3 cars right after the start of the race before he got to turn 1. There's a car off the side there. That's one of the Camaro Mustang cars.
That is my good friend Adam Ginsberg, and it looks like Adam done blowed up, and he's out of the car and headed back behind the barrier. That's a real disappointment for Adam.
That's pretty frustrating. He was running 5th in the Camaro Mustang Challenge category. He had been slowing down, so maybe that problem was developing in the car, and finally he had to stop altogether.
Yeah, and that's a real heartbreaker because you are getting here as a lot of effort and then getting through the first 2 races of the weekend, then you get to the big show and something breaks. But that's not unexpected because think about the amount of time that's been put on the car this weekend, and things may be ready to fail because they have a lot of hard racing time on them. So again, it's that chess game of trying to save the car for the big show at the final day.
We're back on Scott McKay, the 2-time defending champion in the Factory 5 Challenge category, long distance award. Towed that car all the way from Florida. In fact, moved his shop. He missed the long distance award. That's how competitive this guy is. He missed the long distance award by a couple of miles, went home, told the wife, we got to move the shop another 10 miles down the road. They moved it 7. They found a facility, moved it 7 miles further away, and he was able to come away with the award for the longest distance tow. And what did he get for that?
Well, Scott's a good friend of mine, so I decided to mess with him a little bit. So I did get him a long-haul trucker theme gifts. I got him a very nice T-shirt over at the local TA truck stop, as well as a certainly contoured pad for him to sit on during those long drives. And we also gave him $100 in cash just to let him know that we appreciate him coming from so far away to join us here in Utah.
He's probably not sitting on that pad now. He's probably, as they say, up on the wheel. He is leading this race in the Factory 5, and he's leading the race all together. He's leading the Factory 5 Challenge category. He's running about 2:13 laps, and he's just cruising right now, it would appear. John George is running about the same speed that he is, same lap times that he is. So Scott might be cruising, you think?
Well, and it looks like Paul Kaiser's fallen back a little bit to 4th. I didn't see him there in the picture. So Scott, I think at this point, is watching his mirrors and trying to figure out that strategy. He's still got John George, and he's got TC there, and they are not going to let him get too far out of their gun sights.
Oh, it does appear that, let's go over this again. Scott McKay is leading the Factory 5 Challenge. John George is listed in 2nd. TC McNett 3rd, and Paul Kaiser has fallen back to 4th.
I imagine Paul may have some sort of problem if he's falling off. I think I see him coming into the attitudes right now, and he looks like he's way off pace. So something may have blown up for Paul Kaiser, but we see McKay coming down right now into that clubhouse turn, and let's see what kind of gap he's got on the next 2. Looks like about, probably a good 5 or 6 second gap that he's put on John George and TC McNett there. Scott is coming around now. He's through windup and coming into release. And the other two fellows are right there behind him. You can see John George is still staying out in front of TC. And looks like Paul Kaiser right now is just coming through windup and release, so there may be some kind of problem going on.
How difficult is it to run at the front of the line, maybe 5-6 seconds in front of everybody, know you're faster, and to maintain your concentration to finish the job and get this national championship?
That is what really determines a champion, is that ability to focus, because it is so easy to get distracted and start patting yourself on the back and miss a turn, or just make some kind of silly error, grab the wrong gear and blow the motor, overcook a turn because you just are feeling so good and so confident. So the challenge right now is for Scott to maintain that concentration and really keep working that strategy as he comes up on lap traffic, and make sure that he's able to even have some left at the end of the day in case TC and John decide to come on down. But you see TC and John just still dicing and dicing. It looks like TC is going to try an outside pass here. No, and he didn't pull it off.
No, he wasn't able to pull it off. You've got to maintain. Now there's a good whip. He managed to get beside him,
right?
But he's in the wrong place at the next turn.
Well, you see, they just 3 turns, 3 position swaps right there, and and that's the critical thing when we were talking a little bit about the inside and the outside line. You got to think about it. You can get so embroiled in that battle that you miss the opportunity to get that really good launch that may put you out in front on the next corner.
Right now, T.C. McNett is in third. He's chasing John George. That's in the picture. John George is at number 48 car. He's leading T.C. McNett in second place, or in third place. T.C. McNett is in third. T.C. has been all over this field. He started at the front. He moved back to fourth, and now he's back up to third, chasing into a side-by-side. And line and momentum, again, is more important in racing than speed, and you just saw it there when they were going through those turns at the beginning of the field.
Oh, absolutely. And, these guys are just going to be racing each other so hard that often if two guys are having an amazing battle like this, the tires will get hot, brakes will get hot, and they can actually slow each other down battling so hard. And that may be why McKay is able to put that gap on, because these two guys are putting so much effort into fighting each other that they are not running their fastest laps because they're having to defend and challenge.
McKay is right now is shown about 5.5 seconds ahead of John George, and another second or so back to T.C. McNett. Maybe T.C. has tried and wasn't able to make the pass. Is he going to satisfy himself with third place?
No, not at all. Third place is great, but knowing TC, he wants the win.
There's
he'll be happy with
Scott,
the podium.
this is for Factory 5, Scott McKay, John George, T.C. McNett, Paul Kaiser. Paul Kaiser is holding on. Is it important? Obviously, it's important, better to finish third than fourth, but you have a national championship picture here. Is it important to finish on the podium, shall we say? That's an important thing to happen in racing. Is there any additional cachet to being second or third?
Oh, yeah. Well, and here at the NASA National Championships, we also have our sponsor relations manager, Jeremy Crozet, has been working hard and has knocked down $1.1 million worth of contingency funds for these drivers here this weekend. So, it may be the difference between second and third and fourth could be some real serious dollars in the different classes.
And in some of the classes, they'll have, you were saying earlier, you might pay $4,000 or $5,000 to win, and or more, and that's a serious piece of money in a sportsman category of racing.
Oh yeah, it's a very generous award, and with some of the sponsors we have, someone can really pay for their season of racing, and in some cases almost pay for the car by just winning a big race like this.
This is the NASA National Championships. At the end of this race, we're going to determine a national champion in 3 categories. Right now, the leader in those categories is Scott McKay, is leading the Factory 5 racing class. Leading in CMC, Camaro Mustang Challenge, is Rob Libby. Set a track record yesterday in qualifying. And in the CMC 2 category is the Team's Life Good Racing. Who'd you say was in that car?
It's probably Dave Brown.
Dave Brown.
Dave Brown is a good friend, known him for a long time. And Bill, we're on the white flag lap now, so that means we are headed into our last lap to determine our champions.
The two-time defending champion, Scott McKay, looks like he's going to be the champion again in the Factory 5 category. Rob Libby is leading in the, he's getting some.
He's in the CMC category. Rob Libby's still out front, and we've got the Life's Good crew still out there in front of CMC 2. So right now we're looking at Scott McKay trying to create a dynasty, as it was, in the Factory 5 Challenge Series.
We're looking at the 5X. There is the Camaro of Rob Libby. Normally a Mustang guy is holding off a Mustang there, and he is leading the category in the Camaro Mustang Challenge. He could be the Camaro Mustang Challenge winner.
But look at that. Dave Belingett is not going to let Rob forget that he's back there. He is giving him all kinds of heat here on this white flag lap, trying to take a win. Which would be irony if a Mustang guy in a borrowed Camaro gets beat by a Mustang.
That's racing, though.
Absolutely.
We're still getting the white flag. We need to find out where Scott McKay is on the racetrack. Is that him? It looks like he's coming.
I think Scott is just coming into clubhouse corner.
Turn.
So that's going to be interesting because Scott will come across right behind where the CMC battle for the lead is. No, that doesn't look like Scott. Looks like he... Hard to spot him here. Looks like there's John George or... Let's see. Little confusion here. It's hard to see up in the tower.
Now here comes.
Here he is, Scott
McKay.
McKay.
Scott McKay is crossing under the finish line right now.
There's John George.
Followed by John George. And T.C. McNett has really slowed down to give the opportunity. There he is, waving his fist, going across the start-finish line.
Yeah, there was T.C. getting his third place. He managed to hang on to it, I believe. There's Paul Kaiser, and you know what? You can see Kaiser's car smoking, so I think he did have a hurt motor through that whole thing.
So he was able to hold on and finish fourth in the category. We've got, before we go to break, let's get the rest of these cars here at, it looks like...
Belingett got by him. Good for Dave. Wow. Now this is going to be a battle absolutely to the end, and I'm sure after leading the whole race that Rob is not going to give up. Now, Bill, I think we have our CMC 2 leaders coming in to wind up and release right now, and you can see that Jeremiah Kellum, they're coming up on slow traffic, so let's see if Jeremiah can get something done.
We're looking at Libby and Belingett are wheel-to-wheel out on the track.
Wheel-to-wheel, and here comes our CMC 2 leaders. It's going to be right to the wire, Bill. Oh, wow, Dave just barely edged him. What a great race in CMC 2.
But Dave Belingett here, let's get back to CMC. This is the closest racing all day. He's leading the Rob Libby, who was the track record holder set yesterday. And Belingett is an official with NASA. He's a Mustang guy. He's driving the number 16 Mustang. The guy in the Camaro chasing him is normally a Mustang guy who is running a Camaro for a friend because problems with his car.
Here they come. We're going to see how they go. They're into wind-up and release with Belingett out front. So it's all going to come down. They're coming up on a lap traffic car, so it's going to be a drag race here coming out of release.
Is Rob close enough to make the pass? They come out of release. Now it's a drag race to a championship.
Look at this. What a finish.
Wow, what a finish.
Wow.
Dave Belingett, NASA administrator, got to the finish line ahead of Rob Libby, who controlled the race until the last two laps. Belingett played it smart, passed him when it was necessary, and won the national championship. This is the NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. We're at Miller Motorsports Park. We have our first three champions of the day. Let's go to break, and we'll come right back and talk about what happens next.
The 2010 National Autosport Association National Championships is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform.
quality and value, style, performance. Sure, you want it all, just don't want to spend it all. No problem. Just go with the brand voted #1 overall, Toyo Tires, for 7 of the last 9 years by people who know best. Independent tire dealers, just like me. So for top quality and top value, take it from the pros. Toyo Tires.
There's the leaders, the top 10 in the Factory 5 Challenge. Scott McKay, the two-time defending champion, has a third championship now to his credit. Now he's got 2008, 2009, and 2010. John George is second. T.C. McNett, who led the early part of the race, fell back to fourth, ended up third. Paul Kaiser, who was run as high as second, he had some problems. He said he was smoking on the cool-down lap. He is fourth. Karen Salvaggio. Great name. Rick Anderson, Tom Conkle, Jeffrey Awender, Carl Thompson, and Wayne Patterson. That is our top 10. In CMC 2 is Team Life's Good Racing. You say it's probably
Dave Brown. But it could
Brown.
be his partner Carl Chicka as well. Those two have been a team all year and worked together on that car.
They're champions now, though, in the Camaro Mustang Challenge 2 category. Jeremy Killen, Nick Steele, James Ray, and Michael Plum. Those are the top 5 in the Camaro Mustang Challenge 2 category. And here is the big story. Rob Libby set the track record, was leading this entire race until the last 2 laps, and Dave Bellingat, a NASA official, chased him and passed him on the second to the last lap and won his national championship. In the Mustang, a Mustang beats a Mustang guy driving a Camaro. So all of you Ford guys, there's proof of the Ford Chevy Challenge, and guess who won? The Ford guy was the winner overall.